welcome everyone to another week of the Focus TV. We got Octavia White here, Cardell Dudley Jr., Raymond Lyons. I'm Wilson Tarpe Jr. Look, we got a lot to get into. It's tournament time. You got games on while we're taping the first four in the midst of going on the men's side tonight. We got the women's side starting this week as well. But Ray, we're going to start with the NBA, the Washington Wizards and what they've been up to.
Losing, and more losing. Yeah, I mean, the funeral procession has begun. The season's over. It's no need to sugarcoat it. Second game in a row where no starters are playing. We know what it is. They're just seeing what they have in the young guys at this point. And to their credit, you know, the young guys have been consistent all season. When they get their opportunities, they're showing effort and they're fighting. But I mean, it's just not much talent here. Yeah, we're looking at highlights from the Celtics home game at Capital One Arena on Sunday. Yeah, it's just a crazy atmosphere to see that much away representation at a Wizards home game. Like if you didn't know, if it didn't say District of Columbia in the middle of the floor, you would have thought they was playing in Boston. But yeah, the Celtics won 130-104. Sam Hauser went off 10 for 13 from three. Yeah, it was just total domination. Yeah, the Wizards are in a tight one with the Rockets right now. It's 60-57 at the half. You know, Cardell's staple. If they give up a 40-point quarter or something close to it, they lose. They gave up 39 in the first quarter. So just go ahead and chalk it up. But yeah, unfortunate news, Bilal Coulibaly, he's out for the rest of the season with a fractured wrist in a spill he took against the Bulls. You know, and it sucks to just see him end this season that way. You know, he was playing relatively well for the most part. You know, of course, as things went on, you know, he started to hit that rookie wall, so to speak. You know, the scout reports catching up on, you know, things he likes to do defensively, which is his strong point. Guys are figuring out different ways to attack him. But, you know, but he'd been up to the challenge on a nightly basis, you know, routinely guarding the other team's best perimeter players. So it's a nice way to get thrown in the fire as a rookie. You know, and he held his own at times for the most part. But yeah, this is a team with a lot of questions, man. You know, Cardell has been talking about how he saw the front office working at the ACC tournament. So, you know, hopefully that pays dividends and they can, you know, they can find somebody to come in and help contribute. But yeah, man, I'm sure these guys are just counting the days at this point and are ready to go on vacation. It's been a tough season, man. They're 11-57. You know, not much positive to talk about there. Yeah, and like I can imagine when you're losing like that, 82 games feels like 800. And yeah, they're just waiting for it to be over with. And to be perfectly honest, so am I.
Yeah, they got their week continues. Like you said, they might be waiting for it, but there's still some games on the schedule. You got Sacramento in town this week, which one of the better teams in the West. And for those of you that haven't been paying too much attention to the West, it's a war out there for seeding. Folks can't afford to lose games. So that's something Washington has on their docket this week. But like Ray said, we'll keep you guys updated. We're going to take a first break when we get back. It's tournament time. We're going to take a look at the brackets. Cardell was at the ACC Tournament last weekend, so definitely going to have him recap that and tell you guys about it as we look towards the big dance, because it's officially go time. In that regard, I think everyone probably got that email blast from all the different sites with the come fill out your bracket this week. Just remind you guys what time of year it is, but you're watching Focus TV. We will return shortly. Welcome back, as promised. Cardell, the floor is yours. You were at the ACC tournament last week. We called in last week. That is where you were. For those folks who weren't following along with you, great opportunity to find out what happened.
Yeah, it was a great tournament, man. Honestly, could say it's the best one I've covered. Pretty much 10+ years of doing this, and media coverage or whatnot, scouting. It was intense. The fan bases packed the arena, and it was great to see just some high level competitive basketball consistently day after day, which unfortunately is what we don't get at the highest level of basketball. But that's a whole nother discussion, man. But NC State, man, the Wolfpack, they're going to be dancing in the next couple of days, man. They capped off a historic run by knocking off 4th ranked North Carolina. DJ Horn scored 29 points. DJ Burns Jr. had 20, including the first 3-pointer of his college career. And NC State pulled out the 24 ACC men's basketball tournament final. The Wolfpack became just the second team to win any conference tournament as a double-digit seed. They were 10th out of 15 teams in ACC, and the first to win the ACC with 5 victories in as many days, which is very, very tough. Anybody that's played college basketball, that's tough. That's a tough road, and they did it, man. And I pretty much saw it all. I was there the first day watching them do it, and seeing the toughness and the strategy that they utilize and to be able to continue to play at that high level. I don't think people understand how impressive their run was. Last week they beat Duke, Virginia, and North Carolina. Those were the top 3 seeds in the tournament, in the ACC, and then they had to go through all 3 of them to make it happen. And without winning all 5 of those games in 5 days, they don't make the tournament. So they literally needed to make the run that they did, and they managed to do it, man. Ultimate respect to them. And even their head coach Kevin Keith said repeatedly, this team was one of many needing to win a conference tournament to make the NCAAs. It's Wolfpack after the run finished 22-14 on the season. So currently they're 22-14, and they won the ACC tournament for the first time since 1987 under Jim Valvano, when ironically it was played just outside of DC at the old Capitol Center in Landover, Maryland. And guess who they beat? Of course, North Carolina. So they love seeing North Carolina in the finals. It's always good for them, and they made it happen, man. Obviously, with the win, they snatched the automatic bid, but in doing that, they took somebody's spot who was on the bubble, and but it ensured that the ACC would get 4 teams into the tournament. Amanda Baycott from North Carolina, they went cold down the stretch, man. They missed 12 consecutive shots down the stretch, but you can credit NC State's defense. Their swarming defense, crowd in the paint with big DJ Burns and Muhammad DR. The athletic guys, 6'10", could play on the wing and the 4 spot. They just did a good job of being smart, man. And Kevin Keats, man, he kept guys fresh. They didn't go too deep into their bench, but throughout the week, you saw him subbing certain guys whenever they would get a run or something like that, buying time so they can sustain and have the energy to be able to pull off this run. It was just a masterful performance, not just by the players, but even the coaching staff, man. They really, really prepared to try to make a run and win this, man. You could tell with everything that they did, the details and what they applied game in and game out. RJ Davis said we didn't play our best basketball. North Carolina point guard, ACC Player of the Year. Coach Davis always talks about response and how we're going to respond when we get knocked down. So going to March Madness, we're going to have to prepare, come together as a group and fix the mistakes that we made, in the game, in the loss to NC State in the championship game. The fatigue of playing the 5th game in as many days, including overtime in the semifinals against Virginia. I forgot about that. Michael O'Connor had to hit a Hail Mary shot just outside the 3-point line, banking in just for them to stay alive in regulation force overtime. That's how close they were to losing. So it's just something about these runs, man. We teams with runs, it's always like a little magical play or big time play somebody got to make for them to get through it, and that was theirs. But it was noticeable fatigue at times. But NC State, a lot of upperclassmen guys, 5th-year players, guys that have been through a lot of wars. They also threw plenty muscle side led by DJ Burns, who's listed as 6'9" pounds, but man, that boy looked 75 plus, but it don't matter. He agile. All you kept hearing in the crowd was Zach Randolph part 2, you know what I'm saying? And he was dominant. In addition to backing down Baycott for several baskets and tying his career high with 7 assists, that's the other part of his game that's underrated. He's a very great passer. His three-pointer with the shot clock running out in the first half was his first from beyond the arc in 160 college games. He's a fifth-year senior. That's his first three-pointer of his career. And came in the championship game. He shimmied back down court, flexed to the crowd in the final minute, and he won MVP. And then NC State won the ACC tournament. Just some notes from the game. NC State won its 11th ACC tournament championship, the third most in conference history. NC State becomes just the second team to win 5 games in 5 days to win this conference tournament, joining the 2011 UConn Huskies. Wilson's mile up. The Wolfpack became the first team seeded 8th or lower to win the ACC tournament. NC State is also the first 10 seed or lower to ever win a Power 6 conference tournament. NC State played for an ACC championship for the 18th time in program history. The Wolfpack are the first team to ever play 5 games in the ACC tournament, doing so over just 5 days. Obviously, as you see with the additions recently, with all the teams that's coming over, no one has ever made it 5 days, so they were the first one to do it. Muhammad Diyar, who I just told you, he got a lot of interest over the week from his play. A lot of people kept saying, he's a raw Pascal Siakam with his 6'10" frame, but he could play on the perimeter and inside. He hauled in a total of 60 rebounds during that tournament run, the most rebounds by a player in a single ACC tournament. He surpassed Wake Forest Tim Duncan record of 56 in 1996. RJ Davis knocked down 3 3-pointers in the open half to bring his season total to 105, tying the North Carolina single-season record. He hit his 4th of the game in the second half, breaking the Tar Heel record with 8:38 remaining in regulation. Armando Baker locked his 85th career double-double, moving into sole possession of second place in ACC history. Only Wake Forest's Tim Duncan has more with 87. Nobody across Division I basketball has more double-doubles than Baker since the 2019-2020 collegiate season when his career began. Baker tied the ACC tournament record with his 8th double-double in postseason play, matching Tim Duncan and Duke's Carol Yunkin. And Baker becomes just the 17th player in ACC history to record 3 consecutive double-doubles in one ACC tournament, and the first to do so since North Carolina's John Henson in 2011. To close this thing out, my selections for the all-ACC teams, my first team, RJ Davis from North Carolina, DJ Horn from NC State, DJ Burns Jr. from NC State, also MVP, Reese Beekman from Virginia, Amanda Baker from North Carolina, and then the second team, Quentin Post from Boston College, Michael O'Connell from NC State, Muhammad Diyar from NC State, Carlton Carrington from Pittsburgh, and Jalen Lowe from Pittsburgh.
Man, I have so much respect for any team that does the 5 games in 5 days. It's a wild ride. It's stupid tough. I don't think people realize just how crazy it is to get that done. Because again, bro, you're not resting until that run's over. And then even then, it's a tournament. It's a deep breath in this tournament time, man. Salute to those young men for getting that done. Like that is an official grown man run right there, and that's just to get to the big dance. But shout out to them for it's a hell of a run.
Sure.
That is a hell of a run.
It was fun to watch, man, and it was refreshing to see big fella, Jim Couch fam. DJ Burns just go to work on the block, and they were masterful in how they utilized them. It took me back, like they had a weapon down there, and nobody could guard them. Like from the first day to the championship. I mean, I posted on IG. Think about the bigs he had to go through. Kyle Filipowski, who's going to be a lottery pick. Baycott. Syracuse had a couple athletic bigs, man. UVA big man Minor, grown man. He stood in there, and Virginia was stubborn. Like we don't help. Everybody hold their own, and that was a mistake. He just pounded that boy. Hey man, and I love seeing it. And I'm like, you see the dominance, because even when teams would go on runs and hit their threes, those guys would have to go to the bench eventually because guys were picking up fouls and they were just eating them alive, man. And then, like I said, DJ Burns, he's a high IQ player. He's skilled, so he can pass out of the double. And he don't just pass out just to pass. He passes to the open guy, the right guy that's wide open. And they made him pay, man. So it was a masterful performance, man. And I thoroughly enjoyed watching it.
All right. I told you guys last week about Maryland women where they fell short in the Big Ten tournament. Again, Selection Sunday. for both the men's and the women's this weekend. We're gonna get to the brackets, so I definitely want to get you guys takes on what the brackets look like as a whole. But we'll put this up. Here's the moment Maryland found out where they would be placed. This is really weird for me because I'm so used to, hey, it's the first round, College Park that first weekend. They're in Palo Alto, California this weekend because they had a 10 seed. They're going to be playing at Stanford. So we're going to see how that goes. But credit to this team for everything they went through this year. You could have definitely let go of the rope early in the year with some of the injuries. Had the second toughest strength of schedule in the country on the women's side. Hey man, get to the dance, you see what you can do. See if you can make noise and mess up somebody's bracket or whatnot. But credit to them for fighting all year long and making a tournament. But let me go ahead and get this pulled up. I guess we will start with the women's side of the bracket. Man, I just want to get y'all's honest takes, man. We're starting in Albany 1. You got man.
The South Carolina Invitational.
Yeah, South Carolina
100%. Just go ahead and wrap it up now.
Man, you said it.
Where LSU, yeah, that's one. Yeah, where they at on that bracket, man?
They in the tough bracket. They in the bracket with Iowa and
they're over here. You guys, they're in Albany too.
Go ahead, Caitlin. Go ahead and that real quick.
I don't know. Oh, they in there with UCLA.
Man.
Yeah, go ahead and that. And they talking trash about Louisville. We're gonna murder. All right. Okay.
Man, if that is a tough bracket to be in, to be talking anything, like you got UCLA over there. You got Louisville. Colorado, low key, has been good this year in women's basketball. I know nobody cares, but
and that point guard, LSU point guard Haley, what have you done since you came? You just been riding the gravy train.
Man.
Yeah, they got. I think that's the toughest bracket too. And they were talking about Iowa would possibly have to face Kansas State, and they split with them this year. I think they said that they played, so that's going to be a potential rematch that should be good.
You got some tough outs in that bracket.
Ooh, USC on that side too. USC, yeah. They young, but they a problem.
Yeah, low key, I like Maryland in their bracket. I feel like this is like one of the times, like granted they're not as good as they've been in the past, but they always get put in the same bracket as South Carolina like the last couple of years. And I just be like, well damn. But I feel like, I mean, if they were able to have a special type run, this is the bracket that they could do it in.
Man, they got to see Stanford in the second round.
Yeah, so it's still going to be tough though.
It's tough.
This not a fun bracket. Like it's not a fun bracket.
I don't think it's. I mean, outside of, I think of course South Carolina gets the easiest bracket because they're the number one overall. But
right, they got Notre Dame on their side. Like
and hello, I can't even say a girl last
name.
Oh yeah, she's so good. They making them say like Olivia not even coming back, bro. That's how good she is. They like Olivia. You sure you want to come back? I think your spot might be taken.
Yeah, I hate the fact that the way she's getting treated this award season too. Like that shit's criminal.
You got a hot. Look, that Portland 3 is USC. Baylor's hanging around over there. Ohio State's lurking in Portland 3.
Virginia Tech.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, if you be honest, all these straights is tough for real.
I think Albany 2 is the worst one, but
100%. But a lot of these straights is tough. I mean, Portland itself is tough, I would say, because
what's it called?
South Carolina's gonna run through theirs.
Texas is really is so freaking good. They've been good consistently for the past 5-6 years. You got Texas over there. Tennessee's lurking over there.
That's what I realized. Yep.
Florida State's over there. Like. Yeah, this should be fun. But again, as Cardell said, man, you know, I'm kind of where you at with this. It's the invitational until someone knocks them out. Like,
yeah, you know, everybody's calling for an LSU South Carolina rematch, and I'm like, I don't think LSU really want them problems.
Haven't they lost them 18 times in a row?
I don't think they get out their bracket. Like
I'm like, they like, yeah, man, they want him back from the last game. I was like, I don't think they want that. I don't think they want that at all.
If South Carolina play that game, they for one, no one has an answer for homegirl off the bench forward.
Malaysia.
She's a pro. She's a pro. Like that's the problem. Like you might battle the starters to stand still, and she come to the game, it's like 20.
Yep.
Cause she wicked, bro. And them man, them reserve guys they reserves for a reason. Like, hold on, what the fuck? I'm not used to this.
She's coming off that bench with something people do not have.
And she already, man, she's like, I should be starting already. I'm about my time, but I'm taking shots AI style, dog. That's all I know. I'm getting mine. And Dawn letting her rock because Dawn know what it is. Because Dawn got busy like that. So she's hell. So when she get going, she opens everything up for everybody else, bro, especially the bigs. You know what I'm saying? But I just think, you know, LSU, all that barking, and I don't understand how a lot of people love the barking like it's entertaining, man. You got to bite eventually. I mean, they the reigning champs. I give it to them, but this year they ain't been biting. You know what I'm saying? So y'all riding off that wave, and that was a year ago. That shit don't apply right now. It's a totally different season. So, and it took that brawl to knock a few people out for the game to even get competitive because they was beating the hell out y'all. You know, it was convincingly. So, but neither here nor there, man. We all know, and this, especially on the women's side, if you just having an off night, it can give somebody some chances, man. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like the men where you can have an off night, but you just so much superior athletically and size, you can still beat the hell out of them. It ain't like that on the women's side. So in the tournament, it's like that throughout the season, but not in the tournament. So they still got to come to play. But yeah, man, tell somebody I like what I'm seeing out of South Carolina. They on a mission.
Yeah, and like you said, you have the off chance, and the fun thing with the women's side is, you know, the cliche styles make fights. We have those weird styles where a team gets the worst possible matchup from a lower seeded team that presents that exact problem for them. But you just don't typically see it, or the teams in your conference might not be able to execute it, what have you. But like you said, man, it's the invitation until otherwise, man. South Carolina's coming off the bench with firepower. Like
thank you for coming to our tournament, everybody.
And the thing I love about the team, they lead with defense, man. On their own. And last year they kind of led with the offense going through Aaliyah and all that, you know. And I get it; she's one of the all-time greats. But now this year they lead through the defense, and that holds you down. And that's the reason why LSU couldn't get nothing going. You know what I'm saying? But you know, hey man, you know what they say: the loudest one in the room is the weakest one in the room. I see that all over LSU.
And ain't no waving Raven off this year.
They can't wave nobody off for real. Because I was like, they was hitting shots all everywhere in that game.
And if they miss, big girl in the middle was cleaning up. Angel doing all that banging. You girl, you was tired as hell.
That's why she was out there pulling hair.
And she copped the plea when that brawl happened. I got a lot to lose. No.
I had just rolled my ankle.
No.
But don't you have a lot to lose when you instigating stuff?
I mean, only if it works, though, right? Only if it works. If it don't work, and 6'8", still 6'8", we got problems.
Look, man, we gotta start giving goon status to people who ain't never thrown a punch. That's all I'm saying. Let alone fought. So just keep it basketball.
I think that's the least anybody can ask. On to the men's side of this thing. Where y'all want to start? We can start south. You got Houston. Shout out to what they got going on, man. That is a hell of a team. Each and every year, that is a super tough out. I expect them to be
strap you. That's what I call it.
Yes.
Strap you.
I hope you have enough buckets in your luggage to deal with them. Because
but the problem with them sometimes is they don't have enough. You know what I'm saying?
we just saw that with them.
They got the hell beat out of them.
Yeah, they lost by like 30.
Yeah.
But that South in Dallas, what is that? That's Houston is the 1 seed. You got Duke is a 4. NC State's over there. Kentucky. Marquette.
They just young.
Yeah. In the Midwest, we got Purdue down there with Mr. Edey, Gonzaga, Kansas, South Carolina, Oregon, Creighton, Texas, and Tennessee.
Don't sleep on South Carolina either.
Mm-hmm.
They athletic and they versatile. They got dogs on that team.
Ain't this like the best year in their program's history or something like that?
I gotta look back at the Alex English years, but they might have been nice back then. But in a minute, yeah, for sure. Yeah, don't sleep on that. No, don't sleep on them, man. They're a problem. They're a problem.
What's called slide it over to the West. We got North Carolina as the 1 seed in the West. Mississippi State, Michigan State, St. Mary's is over there. Got Alabama, Clemson, New Mexico, Baylor, Dayton, and Arizona.
Colgate too. Colgate big, man. Colgate, they end up a Patriot League.
Got you.
They played against one of our players from the Kenner, Caleb. They got about 6'11" white boys, about 260. Big corn-fed country boys.
Hey man, that's not a bad thing to have.
Not at all.
And especially in the tournament when it slow down, man, just throw it into them or they clogging the paint, getting them boards, boy. And they like, it don't matter if a couple of them get foul trouble. You got a couple more.
Yeah, that looked like a tough bracket right there.
Arizona tough. Michigan State shouldn't be in there. No one wants to say it. Go got them in there.
Oh my God, yeah.
15
and 14.
Man, they went 10-10 in conference, bro. They shouldn't be in there. Pitt should have been in there, but
yeah, that's tough, man.
You know,
I saw that was the discussion over the weekend. Is a bunch of ACC teams.
This is the first year if you just turning on sports that you're not really watching. This is the first year you probably you ain't hear nothing about Michigan State. Normally you would hear about them.
Yeah,
they shouldn't be in there. They ain't do nothing. Look at their record. You 5 games above 500. Come on now. That's NIT.
Okay, so they're a 9 seed at 19 and 14. Bro, St. Peter's is a 15 seed at 19 and 13. Bro, your record is.
Shout out to Izzo. Hall of Fame juice made some calls.
That man hit the button.
About who you know.
Magic Johnson make some calls. Draymond make some calls, baby. They made some calls. But they know they shouldn't, man.
That's nasty work there. All right, then out east in Boston, which is
I think your team, the team to beat overall.
Yeah,
your beloved team. Don't come with that dark gloom stuff. You about to come in, hey man. You know I just
me. Yeah, no, I don't have it. I don't have it. Hey, look on everything. I do not have it. Please go get number 2. I don't have it. Let Dan Hurley cook. I do. There is no dark cloud over here. I swear I don't have it.
All right, I mean, look, y'all the team.
I promise you, I don't have it.
All right, yeah, be happy for us, man. Yeah,
hey, look,
the women's side, I get it. The women's side, I get it, but the men.
I have so quietly switched gears and I'm relaxed. Whatever happens on the women's side, that's the luxury of it. When one's really bad, unfortunately it means the other's usually good. So it's all men's on this side. I get back to the women when it warrants it. Now let Dan Hurley keep doing it.
Hey man, I knew he was gonna turn that thing around quick, bro. Them Hurleys, and coach, man. Family business, but yeah, I think y'all the team to beat, man. Y'all got y'all got everything. Y'all not as deep as a lot of teams. Y'all might go like 7 or 8. But y'all got a lot of dudes that been there, done that before, done one before. Y'all fill a lot of roles. Y'all and obviously y'all well coached, man. And y'all in the East, man. Like, man, dog, that's gonna be UConn. Boston gonna be UConn. So Auburn's tough. They got some bigs that can rumble with y'all. But they gotta get past Yale. I told you about Danny Wolf. I said,
that's big boy, yeah.
That's him. Looking like Al Perun Sagoon. Yeah, that's him. So, and they got Bez and being from the area who strapped defensive player of the year. Yeah, they got him all.
Bez, was that the one at GW? You said good counsel?
High school.
Okay.
GW. He's been there the whole time. Yeah, he played a good counsel. But he tough, man. You know, deep, like that's why as soon as I play, people don't think Auburn gonna beat the hell out of them. They can upset them. You know what I mean? They can. Illinois tough. They got Shannon. potential lottery pick, depending on his legal situation. Looking at that, Iowa State went on a run late. That's why they got the 2 seed. They're dangerous. Obviously, Florida Atlantic is dangerous. But for the most part, that's probably the easiest bracket. It's only like about 4 teams that can, you know, if they advance to see UConn, like, yeah, we hang with y'all for like a half before y'all beat the hell out of us, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. But yeah, like I think the South is done competitive. Like even Vermont and Duke, they gotta watch out for that. Vermont, my young fellas at UMass Lowell, they can't get past them, man. Them up, they're well coached, and this is a down year for them. Like talent wise, normally they load. It's a down year, and they can't beat. They just so well coached, man.
Are they a bigger team too? Or is it just veteran?
Nah, it ain't nothing they ain't seen before. They just execute, bro. They just execute. They tough and smart. And they just execute. And in the tournament, that'll get you far. Beat more talented teams because they gonna come in all the talent. And like Duke sometimes don't play smart. That's what got on. That's how NC State got them about it there, man. NC State got them about it there. They just don't play smart. Like Filipowski is the one constant. Yeah, you know, sometimes Jeremy Roach, even though he is saying he can have if he has an off game, Mr. Rap, them freshmen, like when against NC State, when the game was still kind of within reach, they were taking shots like they were trying to get drafted. Just bad shots, bad defensive possessions, man. And you know, it only take a couple possessions for it to turn in the tournament to wrap. So that's a dangerous thing. It could be a blowout too, don't get me wrong, but if Vermont plays like how I've seen them play, they can get Duke up out of there. That's dangerous. NC State, Texas Tech, man. I don't know what they do with Big Boy. But if they got bigs that can run basket to basket, that's his weakness because he's so big. It's hard for him to change in. So if they can get the boards and run, they could beat NC State like that. But if it's half court, NC State gonna get them. Kentucky, I mean, they got the talent. It's a matter of how the young boys gonna grow up. Florida tough, well coached. They got some lethal guards and Marquette with Kolick and all them. You know, I expect them to do damage. So that South is loaded.
I want to see my man from Nebraska though.
Which bracket they in?
They in that South bracket.
Okay. I'm gonna have to check them out.
Yeah, they're the 8th seed in the South. Yeah. So they win. Their reward is Houston.
Congratulations.
Strap you. Strap you, man. So it's gonna be fun, man. But and right now I'm watching it right now. Wagner's up on Howard 67-60. So where are they at
the top first 4?
I'm talking about as far as who they play.
Where they end up.
Right there, North Carolina. Okay. So it'll be short-lived, yeah.
You know, they always do them like that.
I don't even do that, dude, man. I'm like the competitive optimist, man. I get it, man, but nah.
We live in the real world, brother.
I'm looking at this game like, nah. And then, man, they lost the ACC championship. Nah, they gonna be trying to get y'all out there. 50.
That is a example and or statement type time after coming over the ACC tournament. If you can start this thing on a good on the right foot, but we're looking forward to the tournament. Look forward to checking with you guys next week with it to see where what these brackets look like, what y'all's bracket, how messed up y'all's brackets are, because that's always the best part, right? We'll take a second break when we come back. Quick update of DC United, then we'll get into rapid fire. You're watching the Focus TV. As promised, let's get straight to this. Man, tough for DC United, man. It started the year unbeaten streak, and then, but you know, things happen. Where's this at? I'm trying to find this for you guys. Start here. Man, the first loss of the season for DC United. They started the year on an unbeaten streak, as I mentioned last week. They took on Inter Miami, who were without one Leo Messi. The Black and Red got off to a good start. They were the aggressors and generated several chances early on in this game. They would get on the board in the 13th minute. This is a great chance here by DeHome, but his header was a little high. This is where they did score at. It was a Click finding Stroud right here in a little pocket of space, a little half turn. Nice shot to get on the board. You know, Audi's loving it. You up early 1-0. Stroud's first goal of the season. So shout out to him for taking advantage of that opportunity. And he did a really good job just settling the ball down off this pass from Click. And that was Pirani with the touch to Click, just to open things up just a little bit. The home side will get another chance shortly thereafter to try and score. You got Christian Benteke in space. You're going to see that in just a little bit. The keeper does a great job of coming out and just closing down the space on Benteke to take his shot away. You see him pointing. This is usually a goal, man. Great job by the keeper not panicking. Stays big is what they tell keepers all the time. It gets the stop. Then here's Inter Miami threatening right here with Campana with the header. Bono gets the save, but Inter Miami sticks with it, and as soon thereafter they get on the board. It was tough for DC United because you're going to see just how awkward this whole sequence was, right? He gets a touch, misplays it here, wrestles for it, fights for it, and it turns to a goal. Worst thing in the world for a keeper, almost trying to get this blind. But kudos to Inter Miami. Campana with the tally there. But you guys have seen a little bit. It's a really tough moment for DC United, and I wish that they showed this during the highlights. So we're about to see Inter Miami go up 2-1 after this is done. But they go up 2-1 right after DC United has the ball in Inter Miami's box, and it goes off the hand of a defender. This is the counterattack. This is why you don't see a lot of black jerseys back on defense. They're in the box trying to tell the ref, hey, someone touched the ball with their hand. It was pretty clear, but no call was made. Counterattack, Inter Miami. They go up 2-1, and that was it. But it was really tough for DC United. This is where people hate VAR, because when they do not review it, like, look, man, it sucks. But this is a big goal by Luis Suarez here. But this just took all the air out of DC United sails. They literally were in the box. It hits the defender's hand, and instead of it being a PK, with them having a chance to go up 2-1, it's Inter Miami doing so. Then here, just good pressure, and this is how the game ends for Inter Miami. It's what you want to do as a road team. Luis Suarez, just being the veteran that he is, takes his time. Classy touch here, chips the goalie. Bono gets a hand on it. Just not enough. But everything kind of goes back to that moment for DC United. I think it was literally right before that counterattack. But is their first official loss of the season, so it could be much worse. They moved to 1-1-2 on the season. Up next, they travel to take on St. Louis on the road. Again, they're 1-1-2 through 4 games. They're currently 9th in the Eastern Conference standings. They have a goal differential of 0 at the moment, meaning they've scored 6 goals on the year. They've given up 6, but look, it's just their first loss. We'll see how they respond this week. You got a chance to go on the road, get the full result, hopefully get 3 points. If not, get 1 and just keep a place in the standings, man. But again, not a bad start. You started the year unbeaten. We know where you're coming from, so 1-1-2 is nothing wrong with where you're at the current time. But let's get into rapid fire. Cardell, where are we starting at this week?
Yeah, man, we're going go around the sports world, but we're gonna start on the NBA side of things, man. Actually, a great show. I had to check it out. Once I started seeing some clips, obviously, LeBron and JJ created a new podcast. JJ Redick created a new podcast, and in it, they talking about, they're just breaking down the game, hot take stuff or whatnot. But one thing came up, it's called Mind the Game. One thing that they came up that I like, they discussed the most influential players in NBA history. And a lot of times, a lot of people get that confused with the best and all that, you know what I'm saying? Oh, emotional ties to certain players or whatnot. But LeBron was the true student of the game. And when JJ asked him the credit, he said he feels and he understands that Curry and Iverson were more influential than he was, both with fans and how the game is played. LeBron said, him and Redick said they entered the league when they enter the league, coaches will pull their stars if there was a 19-point lead at the start of the fourth quarter. But that is no longer the case. LeBron said he knows why. Quote, I believe in 08, 09, whenever that little light skin came into the league, he changed that whole narrative. He single-handedly changed the no lead is safe. It's like Pat Mahomes right now. LeBron then talked about the influence of Iverson and Curry and why they are so relatable. He said, quote, when it comes to influence, since I've been watching the game, Steph and Allen Iverson are the two biggest influential guys in our game since I've been watching and covering. One is 6'3", 6'4", you know, laughing. If you want to look on the back of the basketball card, you know you always a lot taller on the back of the basketball card. But Allen Iverson and stuff, they were just relatable, and kids felt that they could beat them. They were the guys that was not always counted on. They were small in stature, but they just defied the odds. Well, so he said, so you got AI, who's like unbelievable crossover, cornrows, arm sleeve. Everyone wears an arm sleeve now because of Allen Iverson. He's going into the trenches, laying it up over bigs, whatever the case may be. And now you have Steph, who's shooting over the Empire State Building. Those two are just the two most influential when you play the game, how they change the game and the impact on kids. Those are the two guys that you just wanted to watch every single night. We're going to start with you, Octavia. Do you agree with that? And, you know, they do the Mount Rushmore thing. If you had to pick 4 basketball players outside those two, if you agree with those two, who would the other two be as far as the most influential throughout the history of the game?
Kudos to LeBron for finally telling the truth on something. So we appreciate that. Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I was a kid playing basketball and early on before, you know, the WNBA became a thing. But even when the WNBA did become a thing, it was still Allen Iverson for me and a lot of my teammates. I remember having, you know, the answer shoes, like who wore Reeboks before, you know, like Allen Iverson was definitely that. I can definitely agree with Steph. Just look at the influence he has now, how many kids want to be him. I mean, it's definitely crazy. So I agree with those two. I'm sure he didn't want to say Michael Jeffrey Jordan, but I don't understand how you can't. I mean, he's still influential as of now. I mean, people are still wearing Jordans. People, I mean, for goodness sake, there was a whole commercial saying I want to be like Mike. So I don't know how much more influential you can get when it comes to that. And also because his story wasn't. I mean, granted, he became the best basketball player ever, but I mean, you know, you always hear the stories about him getting cut in high school or middle school, whichever it was, and you know, all of those type of things. So I definitely think you have to include him. The fourth person, probably would have to think on it. Um, I never thought about this, so
All right.
yeah, come back to me.
Take
Let me
time.
think.
Want to take time? All right. Ray, what you think? Oh, and by the way, before you start, Ray, he did mention Michael Jordan. He said obviously Michael Jordan, but you
Oh,
know that
okay.
goes without saying. They just ain't put in there. You know, I just put that quote in there. I ain't
My
gonna.
bad, LeBron. My bad.
Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, man, it's hard to dispute, you know, what the impact that Steph and AI have had on the game. I mean, AI is my favorite basketball player ever. I'm sure that's the case for a lot of guys around my age. You know, the first time I ever seen him was his first game in the Kennel League. You know, I'm all of 10 years old, and he walks in, not that much bigger than I am, and he's the best player on the floor. You know, that's just captivating. And then, you know, culturally, his impact is it can only be rivaled by maybe 1 or 2 guys that I could think of, if that. But yeah, man, he changed the whole culture of the league. You know, his brought up the arm sleeve, like the cornrows, all that type of stuff. You know, he was just like LeBron said, man, he was just so relatable. You know, he was the everyday guy that we knew in our neighborhoods growing up, and he's one of the biggest stars in the league. And as far as Steph goes, we all know it's a copycat league. Once he was dominant with that style of play, you know, everybody tried to emulate it. And those are the things that get you in that discussion when you just shift the whole, the whole style of play for the league, and you can pinpoint a moment in time when things shifted, and it starts with Steph. So yeah, man, I think they were spot on with that conversation. And then of course Mike goes without saying, he changed everything, from a marketing standpoint to, even how winning is perceived. He just changed the whole idea of basketball as we know it. For the fourth guy, like Octavia said, man, it's not something I sit around and think about. But I mean, I guess I would throw somebody like Dr. J in there. He sort of like Iverson, he just kind of changed, just what it meant to be a cool NBA player. I mean, his, the personality, the flair, his style of play, just how graceful he was in the air, just kind of, it didn't begin with him. It was some guys before him, but he just kind of, he put it just on another level. So yeah, if I had to add a fourth, it would be Dr. J.
I got my fourth. I just thought of him.
Oh.
So, and again, I think Dr. J is a great one too. But just thinking like myself, for me, like the type of players that influenced me and the type of things that made me really intrigued and want to watch the NBA, play basketball, those things. For me, it's also Vince Carter. I know he's probably not like the best. I mean, yeah, I think he played the most seasons, in the NBA, but when Vince Carter was dunking, like everybody wanted to dunk like Vince Carter. Like I don't know how tall you were and thought you could, but um that would be for me. Like I definitely was a huge Vince Carter fan too.
Cool. Wilson.
Yeah, it was refreshing to hear him not talk from a PR standpoint. Like I don't think any of us here are shocked that he has a great mind for the sport. That's kind of why a lot of us get annoyed, perturbed, pissed off when he's on his BS, because you know better. But so it was refreshing. I haven't watched the entire episode yet because I was kind of hesitant because of those things, reasons that I listed. However, some of the clips, and Cardell, you're not the first one. Several people hit me today like, hey, it's actually really good. Sending clips, so I'll probably go get it to it.
And before you go, it is. He actually indirectly checked JJ because he's like, what makes a great basketball player? And right off the bat, he like respecting the history of the game.
Yeah, I saw that.
Back to Russell and all that, like out the gate. That's the first thing. And you notice JJ he ain't do none of that bull job. He just like,
he ain't trying to hit that Bob Cousy,
he was on his best behavior. Where all the energy at?
He started doodling. He got in trouble by the teacher and started doodling. I know he wasn't writing anything. I saw that clip. Those were not words. That pen was just making shapes.
Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, because you wear the peer. We all the same age, 84. So yeah, you can't do it. They ain't gonna work on the little young social media cats and all that. The backup, but they were spitting in that joint.
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. Like Ray said, I think Dr. J doesn't nearly get enough credit for some of the same reasons when you guys are talking about, like Brian mentioned, AI and Steph for what they did, and then obviously, the other guy for some of the same things too. Like the era he was in, it wasn't guard dominated. That was a land of the bigs during that time, flying through the air. All this, it's kind of taking with Dr. J, David Thompson, some other folks had going on, and kind of, putting his own spin on it and doing what it is that he did with it, but the lasting effects. But I think that was a hell of a. I enjoyed that part of the conversation that I did see, and yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to watching the rest of it. But I think those are probably the four I go with, and I'm sure like this crazy part is the longer you think about it, I'm sure you can come up with different folks as you go about it, or different combinations, I should say. But
yeah, for me, it goes without saying. You definitely Steph influence right now. Everybody want to shoot threes, even though only a few can really shoot threes. You can become a better 3-point shooter, but that don't mean you can become a a reliable, efficient 3-point shooter. It's just like you can go out here do all the plyo work you want. If it ain't in your DNA, you ain't gonna be able to dunk, bro. You know what I'm saying? So work on your game. You know what I'm saying? But obviously him AI, influenced us, and I think they talk about the crossover and stuff like that. That's not to me what he influenced. It's just the heart. Just like man, no matter your size or whatnot, take on all comers. Just challenge them, go at them. It don't matter, and that's what he put in my generation for sure. Obviously, Mike, that's Mike. We don't even need to go deep into that. Dr. J was a choice for me. Magic was another guy I felt changed the game, the flair, the passing, and stuff like that. I even kind of on a, I'm gonna throw in Kevin Garnett. He changed the game with bringing in the high school guys. He changed the game. And think about all that run with those great high school guys. Like if you put all the top high school guys on one team, they would smack a lot of the all-time great guys that went to college. Like it would be a hell of a game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like that, like the starting lineup would be sick on his own. And the Kobe, Matt, LeBron, KG. You can put Moses and Dwight, Jermaine O'Neal. Like it gets real. It gets this problem. Tyson Chandler, Eddie Curry, like man, they got everything you need, and they big as hell. Sebastian Telfair, like. Just throw all them names in the hat. And he changed the game. He impacted the game because he made everybody from 95 on, any top high school players, to this very day, honestly, you can't come in, but they're checking their pro prospects. And he brought on the air. So you can bring that, you can put him in that mix as well. It's not that many that impacted culture in the game like that to me, changing the game is when you ride down the street and you just look on the playground, you see kids playing and they emulating that play. And it's consistent. And it's year after year. You see what I'm saying? That's what that is. And, I know Octavia brought up Vince and everybody wanted to dunk, but Mike already established that. That, like, man, that's the thing. Like, I want to fly like, I want to be like Mike. I want to fly through there, do all the things he do and stuff like that. You got to have a different type of game and flair that no one else has brought or is doing, and that's why for me, it's definitely Dr. J, but Magic and KG and those guys right below them, because Dr. J was the first, man, and to me, he's still like the coolest basketball player of all time, even the style, like he just is, dog. And like I don't know if y'all met him or seen him in person, bro. Even to this day, it's dangerous, man. He might take your girl, dog, and he just walking through, like he just is that. But he was also a cool ass basketball player, man. Like the David Thompsons, the Dominiques, the Jordans, Clyde Drexlers, all them, those is kids. It's just that Jordan, the one that took it to another level. You see what I'm saying? And so, all them high flying 6'6" wings and stuff like that. Those are Dr. J's kids. And in a sense, Steph Curry's Allen Iverson kid. You know what I'm saying? He just, he's just a combination of AI and Reggie Miller to me. You know what I'm saying? He just kind of brought that in there. So you definitely can see that. We're going to move on to the NFL side. Definitely got to get y'all Chase Young. At the 2023 season, split between two teams. Chase Young reportedly will get another change of scenery in 2024. He intends to sign a 1-year, $13 million contract with the New Orleans Saints, according to Adam Schefter. Should the deal become official, the Saints will become Young's third team in his 5-year pro career after a stellar collegiate tenure at Ohio State, including a 4th-place finish in the Heisman voting on the heels of a transcendent 2019 season. The Washington Commanders took Young with the number 2 pick of the 2020 NFL Draft. So what do you think about the move of him leaving the 49ers and, going to the Saints? Ray, we're going to start with you.
Yeah, I don't know what went into that. I would have, my first thought would have been that he would have, tried to stay, in San Fran. He's in a good competitive situation. But I don't know what the money situation was or anything like that. But just overall for him, man, I just want him to be able to get a chance to really show who he is as a player. I get it that this is pretty much a 1-year prove-it deal. But yeah, I just think he's had a rough go at it so far in his NFL career, man. And he started on a good note, but battled some injuries. Then he was in a dysfunctional place. went to had an opportunity to go to San Fran, play in the Super Bowl, and now he can chart his own path from this point, man. I just want to see him do well because he's obviously extremely talented. I think all he has to do is stay healthy and prove his worth. But yeah, man, just good luck to him, and I hope everything works out.
Wilson.
I'm happy for the kid. I think the reason he's not in San Fran is just the price tag. Like the Saints were willing to give you 13 mil coming off that year on a prove it deal. By all means, it is not the NBA. Go do what you have to do best. Because in the Bay, they probably would have spun the block if the price came down some, for sure. It probably might have been a better fit. But I'm happy that Cam Jordan's still over there on the Saints. You got a good vet over there, kind of help him kind of possibly get back to where he needs to be. I think there was a lot of outside noise last year when he was in the Bay, where I think that's a hard place to play for him coming from where he was coming from, even without the injury. No disrespect to Washington and their franchise and the state of their franchise when they drafted him, to what you were going into last year, full speed. You had Hargrave talking about last year how different stuff was. He's a vet from him coming from Philly to the Bay, just how different things are in terms of like we're in the age where professional sports sometimes like people kind of what's the right way to say, they don't go as they hard as they used to, like teams with practices and stuff like that, versus going into the Bay where that's a shock to your system. A lot of people that end up in the Bay that haven't been there, it messes you up because when they say practice, they mean bring your pads, bro. They don't mean let's iPad and talk about it. So I think that's a shock. You came from not the current, this new iteration of Washington. You came from the previous regime. Like, I think that's something held against you too. I think he was solid last year. I saw somebody who didn't have the burst that they had. The burst is kind of what makes him big and special and different. And I think he was solid last year, but the burst is what kept him from making some of the plays I'm sure he would have thought he would have liked to make, right? You got people on the outside saying he's trash and all this other stuff. I'm hoping that he gets to New Orleans. Cam Jordan's still over there. Like, no matter what happens, people going to think about Cam Jordan before they think about you, which is love for somebody in this situation. And hopefully, you keep working, continue to learn how to be a pro and get your burst back so you can get the type of deal that you deserve, man. But I'm happy with it. I just need people to kind of I know people here are typically unhappy type of people, but it was just let some of that noise die down a little bit. Let him get to work and see what happens. But hopefully he gets his burst back because, like, that's what made him special at 6'6", 265. And then the last thing I would say is I think the Niners liked him enough to where one of the first things they went to go get was like a watered-down version of him. And I'm going to mess up the name, Yetur Gross-Matos from Carolina. The difference between them two is 5 pounds, 4/10 of a 40, and someone who didn't have a big injury. That's different. So they liked what he brought. It's just, hey, bro, they're going to give you 13 to 16 mil. You got to go get what you got to get. Hopefully you go and earn more.
No doubt. Octavian?
Yeah, I agree with both of y'all. Like the one thing I really want for him is to be healthy because I feel like, when he first came into the league, you could see how special of a player he could be. But I think those injuries started to pile up. The knee injury, I think he had a shoulder or something, and now here he is. Unfortunately, granted he's able to get the money and go to New Orleans, but unfortunately he'll miss the beginning of training camp with having a neck procedure. So it's tough, and that's why it's good that he got the money because we all know that football is a violent sport, and you got to get as much guaranteed money as you can, especially with the wear and tear that you're putting on your body. But I think Wilson made a good point that at least he does have Cam Jordan over there, and Cam Jordan is the epitome of a professional when it comes to that defensive side of the ball. So I think he can learn a lot from him. It sucks, for him to have bounced around to 3 different teams. But the original team, and I think you were too nice, Wilson, about the tragedy of a franchise he was in before he left and went to San Fran. But the good thing is he got to see how a well working franchise works. in San Fran, and I'm sure he'll see the same when he gets to New Orleans. So he's starting to put the pieces together. I just think the big thing for him is that he has to stay healthy. So I'm hoping he's able to, really be 100% healthy, get his body back to how he was before he entered the league. Because if he can do that, he can definitely parlay himself into, a good deal. I'm going forward because somebody's always going to want somebody to rush the quarterback. And if he's able to do that, he's definitely going to be able to get his career back on track. It just seems like he has a little bit of a detour right now, which is unfortunate. We're so used to so many players, immediately, coming out and being amazing and not having a lot of hardships and trials and tribulations. But you could tell he's gone through some things. But hopefully, he's able to get down there. To I mean, I don't know if we want to say the NFC South is as bad as it has been, just with the recent things that have transpired in the South, but in a pretty doable division down there where they could possibly win the division. So I mean, I'm hoping that he does well. He's healthy and he gets another shot.
Yeah, I'm with y'all. Y'all hope he finds a way to, like you said, get his burst back, man. Get back to what he was, or as close to it as possible. News also came out that he just underwent neck surgery, so that could have been the reason why the 49ers and other teams were reluctant. So he took the for sure money. Sometimes you gotta do that, especially in the NFL. Like you can't even play with them people, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? So and you change when you have major injuries, man. You start looking at things different. Whereas before you invest money. I'm just with a football at. I'm ready to just play. It'll take care of itself. But then you gotta be, after the injuries, teams are more strategic in how they deal with you. You gotta be strategic, and I think that's what you're seeing with him, man. You know what I mean? Like, God forbid, but who knows? This might be his last decent payday. You know what I'm saying? You don't, like, we've seen it happen especially in the NFL, all the time. All the time. They were low ball. Look at the running back situation. You can ball, still get low ball. You know what I'm saying? It's just ridiculous, man. So he got family, obviously family, I'm sure. He older. He looking at the future. And you know what I mean? And some of the injuries he had, like you getting with neck surgery and stuff like that, and that's some real stuff, man. So he might be looking at like, man, I don't know how many more years I got. So let me pile up as much money as I got. I played on the team. We got to the bowl. We didn't get it. Let me milk this opportunity, this part of my part of my life, this period of my life, as much as possible, so it can set things up post football, man. And that's how you start thinking and stuff like that. You gotta be smarter. And I think that's just what it is for him, man. But all the luck to the hometown kid. Hope he get back to being one of the monsters out there, one of the best in the league for sure. Last question that we're gonna get up out of here. For a stretch of games before the All-Star break, the Clippers looked every bit a contender and the biggest threat to Denver in the West. From December 1st through the All-Star game, the Clippers were 28-7 with a 122.8 offensive rating, the best in the NBA over that stretch. Kawhi Leonard was playing at a level that could get him on the MVP ballot. Paul George looked like an All-NBA player. James Harden, Russell Westbrook found their lanes. After, during the All-Star weekend, Paul George said this: all four of us are sort of at the same place in our career. We're seeing things the same way. We made money. We've gotten the accolades and awards. Now we're focused on one thing, the same thing. We all just want to win, except they haven't been focused out of the break. Los Angeles is 6-8 since the All-Star game with the 114.9 offensive rating. Sunday night was a new low, a blowout loss to the Atlanta Hawks at home. After the game, George gave an honest assessment of where the team is. They're acting like a team that can flip the switch, and in doing so, lost its identity. Via Tomer Ezeli clutch points. Quote, do you feel like this team feels like it can kind of just turn it on whenever it needs to right now? Paul George, I mean, that's what we're appearing to look like, which is not good, not good. We want to be a team that's consistent, and we want to establish an identity. I've always spoken about having an identity, and I think it's extremely important. When you're a team that has an identity, teams know that they know what they're going up against. Right now, I don't think we have an identity. For it to be March at this point in the season, and they're saying that with Coach Ty Lue, I know Russell Westbrook been out and all that stuff like that, but for Paul George to admit that, what does that say about the Clippers overall, Wilson?
That we one more year away from this thing getting blown to smithereens, man. This is not what you. If you're Steve Ballmer, this can't be what he wanted to wake up, see, or be texted, or whatever sent to his phone. Like, this isn't it. Like I'm paying y'all, like I'm paying y'all so we have an identity. The West is tough as hell, right? Mm-hmm. Almost all teams in the West, regardless of where you are seating wise, you want to be trying to peak or at least be headed in the right direction where you are, where you know who you are, or you have things like there's things you can count on. Like again, go to this, my bad. Know what your identity is. So even if you lose a game here and there, like you're still building and heading in the right direction. Thinking you got to switch to flip when you're not a top 3 team in the West is crazy. Like that's crazy. No disrespect to them. Everybody on their team don't got to switch. And I'm just not, obviously at some point in their careers for sure, but at this moment, this is a horrible look, and that's cool. I'm sure some people get mad at PG because he admitted or whatever, but answer the question honestly, and also even if he didn't answer it, I mean, we're watching, so one of those things we can see it, but like you're supposed to be a team with a defensive identity or what have you, like at the very least, bro. What the hell are y'all doing? And if that's something that you don't bring to the table, what are y'all? Like, what are y'all, Rockets West or something? Like, the California version of the Rockets or something? Like, what are you doing? Like you got constructed with those 2 wings to at least be that. What the heck's going on? Like, that should not be an issue. So, I mean, other stuff can be an issue, but that shouldn't be an issue. And it is. Like, they just look bad, man. And how stuff's going right now is if you don't take advantage of the seating or what have you, or if you don't have an identity, it doesn't matter where you end up seated. Someone's gonna get you up out of there expeditiously out west. People ain't got time for that. They're gonna get you out of there very quickly. It's just a horrible look. Like, it's the worst thing in the world to hear from that group.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, it's definitely close to being blown up too. And just like you said, I know the owner who's spending all this money on this brand new arena and doing all of this, trying. I think they got the All-Star game sometime coming up in the next couple of years or whatever at this new arena. That's definitely not what he wants to hear waking up today. What's also concerning is, to talk about these players being vets. You got Paul George, Kawhi, Russell, even though he's been hurt, and James Harden, all saying that they want to win, but then having the coach saying that they have bad practice habits. That's concerning. Like, it's not matching what they're saying. A lot of them, again, we talk about it a lot. I feel like, spend a lot of time on podcasts, and I remember Paul George said something earlier before the season started, like this are a year or something around those lines. And while they were doing well in the first half, it always comes down to the end of the season. Especially with now the playing games and all this extra stuff they got going on. And we all know that the West is a death trap when it comes to, and they got a lot of young teams out there. Right now they're lucky to be 4th in the West. But even if they end up 4th in the West, they're looking at playing the Pelicans. And Zion been healthy all year, which is crazy. So that ain't gonna be a easy series for them either. So it's definitely concerning for them. It's something that needs to happen. I don't know. I don't know if because I feel like Russell was like their energy for lack of a better term, like him not playing, like they don't have that spark off the bench. I don't know what's happening with them. I don't care how many games they played in 9 days. You can't get walked by the Atlanta Hawks. You just can't. Like, there's no excuse for it. I mean, that's like, and this is, I'm sorry, Washington Wizards fan. That's like saying, the Boston Celtics just played the Wizards and they missed half of their starters weren't playing. They weren't getting walked by the Wizards though, So I mean, if you want to be that type of player, that type of team, like I got to show up every night. You can't pick and choose, and like you guys are saying, turn a switch on or off, because it looks like nobody paid the light bill this month. So
yeah, they lost 110-93 on Sunday to the Hawks, the 30-37 Hawks. Yeah, Ray.
Yeah, this thing about to go down in flames, boy. that's not what you want to hear from a team in this position. This team was built to win, and this thing has been disappointing to say the least so far. They've had some low moments, man. And you know, the first half of the season, they look like what folks were envisioning them to look like when when Kawhi and PG went there. But you know, that All-Star break must have threw something off, because they have not looked the same. And yeah, Cardell, you pointed out Russ has been out, which is big for them, because once he found a groove and found his lane, that's when they started kind of rolling. And Harden coming over as well and kind of fitting in. But we know what he do when things get tough. So that's concerning. They need to reel this thing in quick. You do not want to go limping into the postseason. And man, if this tenure ends in disappointment, yeah, Kawhi and PG got to hold that, man. That's not a good look. And I mean, I know Kawhi's pedigree as a player. He's, he has 2 championships, 2 Finals MVPs. But yeah, this has not been a good marriage, so to speak, since he's been in LA, man. And and I think times like this, with Kawhi not being the most outwardly vocal guy, you can't have Paul George leading the charge. And no disrespect to him, he's a great player, but yeah, we've also seen how he has performed in tight spots. Yeah, man. Yeah, if this thing ends with their signature moment being blowing the 3-1 lead, that's tough. But they got to get it together, man. They got to find whatever they had early in the season, and hopefully they find it soon, because the playoffs are approaching very quickly, and teams are trying to stake their claim, man. And it's some young teams out there that's trying to usher these old guys out, and Clippers might be on the chopping block, bro.
Yeah, Wilson, that button you love, get it out, get ready.
Oh man, hey,
it's time. And like I agree with all y'all. If I'm Ballmer, I'm just looking at the salaries. That's why I was looking at where y'all was talking, and I wasn't trying to be rude, but Paul George, $176 million, owed his contract. He's getting paid $44 this year, average salary. Kawhi Leonard, keep in mind he signed for $176. He had $44, but that's the old contract. That expires that expires this season, and his new one kicks in for $149 million. So he's gonna be getting paid over 3 years. So he's gonna be getting paid damn near just under $50 million a season. Yeah, Norman Powell, $90 million, 18 under, 5 years. I'm just going on and on. James Harden, 68. And he's trying to get the extension that he didn't get in Philly. Yeah, bro. Like, yeah, homie. Yeah. I guess what's disheartening about hearing Paul George say that is, Paul George, you're supposed to be one of the guys to correct that. What do you mean you don't have an identity? What are y'all doing? Oh, yeah, y'all don't practice. That's why. Yeah, y'all don't practice. So how y'all going to get together to really fix it? Y'all trying to fix it when y'all in war. That's like going to war with no strategy. You just hoping you win that jump, dog. Like, come on. And you wonder why you getting your head rocked. It's been too much of this teasing. That's what I'm gonna call it over the last year. It's just been a bunch of teasing, and it's an indictment on all of them. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna hurt Ty Lue too. But you want the identity, man. You're gonna have to check all that. And I think Russ was good because he's the one guy that kind of wasn't afraid to challenge everybody. And that's why you need somebody like that don't give a damn, like a Pat Bev or somebody. They're not going to allow you. Kawhi is self-motivated. He's going to make sure he's on point. I don't think he's the type of guy to make sure everybody around him is on point. In San Antonio, that's Greg Popovich. You see what I'm saying? In Toronto, you had Nick Nurse and all these other veterans and stuff like that. who got the job done. Who's the guy but besides Russ? Like, no disrespect, no one's gonna listen to James Harden. You know, you just got there, bro. You know, and look at your track record. All right. And I'm pretty sure a few of them dudes like, we smacked you in the playoffs, man. You good. Just come in here, fit in, do what you do. Who else qualified to speak up after that? And Kawhi at this point, he's not going to be that guy. He's not going to really speak up. So those are the guys that got to establish identity, man. Like, I always feel like with any team, especially in the NBA, you follow who your best player is, or who's the guy leading the franchise. And sometimes that could be the coach. That's why Greg Popovich, when you think about the Spurs, you know, Tim Duncan, all of that, you always started with Greg Popovich. He put himself out there, and that's the military stuff in him that comes into play and all that. And I get it. Just even with Pat Riley, the discipline, going all the way back to the 90s with the Knicks, Ewing and Oakley and all them there, man, but you thought about Pat Riley. Even with the Miami Heat to this day, you still saw Pat Riley. Who's that guy for the Clippers? And you follow the identity. We brought up AI earlier, the 0-1 team that went to the finals. They perfectly followed what AI was to his core, just a tough-ass team with heart. And it got them through. You see what I'm saying? Same thing. Lakers, they follow Shaq and Kobe's leadership and stuff like that. Like, you follow who your best player is or who the top dog is in a sense. You adopt their identity. That's what I'm trying to say. So the fact that they don't have an identity is because I still feel like they're trying to establish who the hell should be number one. And it should be Kawhi, because he's the only one that's gotten it done. But you got the feeling that a lot of guys probably feel like, I'm just as good now. And that's the thing. And that's what you give up when you give up key role players to get Harden there. You got a bunch of dudes, MVP caliber guys in there, and yeah, you're gonna win on talent, but when teams are getting serious like now, they're gonna expose what your weakness is, and now you don't have that. So yeah, they got a lot of questions to be answered, man. And that's why, you know, I heard like Charles Barkley earlier this season talking about, and they were playing well. The Clippers, man, like I gotta see it in the postseason, bro. And I love, and y'all know I love Kawhi and all that. I can't rock with that. It's too much up and down. It's too much of the same pattern. And you know the old saying, when someone shows you who they are, you got eventually believe them, or you're gonna keep getting hurt. Why should we put any faith in them? And as much as we get on, you know, you gotta give like a guy like LeBron, as much as we get on him and stuff about the narrative stuff and all that, you see the difference when it's all said and done between him and the other guys that's supposed to be taking him out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the guy now. You know, and no disrespect to Kawhi's, the Paul George, the KDs, and they all out there. You see the distinct difference in the leadership style, where with LeBron, with any team he on, you know for a fact he's the guy. Even to a fault, maybe at sometimes, like this season. These other guys, you just like they try to run from that, and it's like you can't. Somebody gotta be that guy, so everybody else can fall in line and establish their roles and try to maximize their roles. This is not a nice guy type of game. It's a get in where you fit in type of game. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you win, bro. You know what I'm saying? And trying to do it the other way, it don't work. We've seen it. You know, it just don't work, man. So somebody going to have to take that charge, and it's going to ruffle some feathers. But if you're trying to win, it has to be that way. And to me, until they get like that, they're not serious about winning. It's on you, Wilson.
No, I was just going to chime in and just piggyback off what you said. Like you said, talking about the Kevin and Kawhi, the guys where they kind of like, you never have to worry about where they are for themselves. And now, you know, they can lead by example, but though when you're like that, you got to be paired with somebody who's not what you are. And the Clippers, like you just said, there's Russ, the only one in there that's kind of loud. And at this point in time, Russ probably isn't looked at as the second guy, you know, the 1B on that team. So probably falls on deaf ears. Like you said, you got other folks that feel like they're right there, even though they're not. So this is a nasty way for them to go out. Like, this is just nasty. Like, so to the excitement of what it was when these dudes got together to now, like if I'm Bomber, it's about to be me, Ty Lue, and T-Man out here auctioning off these dudes and seeing what it looks like. Like, bruh, I can't. This is just where we about to be. Like, this is nasty work. Like, you know, in theory, you know, he wanted to open that new arena with stars. Hey man, maybe you might have to just outsource it right now. Like this group right here, this ain't it. Unfortunately, it just isn't it. But we appreciate you guys for tuning in tonight, man. We appreciate y'all as we always do. We'll see some of y'all later this week for Wizards Outlook as usual. We'll see you next week, same time, same place for the Focus TV. Don't forget, Wednesday mornings are early at 9 a.m. on our Roku channel. If you got a Roku television or device, it's so simple. Just type in the Focus TV in the search box. Type in the Focus TV in the search box and double tap OK on the remote, and you've added the channel, man. It's really, really, really that simple. But we appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great week.